you guys, it's Katie and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be sharing how I plan my days as a business owner working from home. If you guys want to see more craft, crochet, or business videos, make sure you subscribe down below and turn on the post notification bell. That way you know every single time I upload a brand new video. Okay, so to start out, before my work day even happens, so like Sunday night if I'm working on Monday, or Monday night for Tuesday, all of that, I write down a to-do list, and I physically always write mine out. I never write it on my phone because if you're going to switch tasks and you have to look at your phone to figure out what your next task is, you can get distracted on Instagram or YouTube or something like that, and you don't want to deviate from your task. So for me at least, it's best to put it on just a notepad. These are just plain ones from Staples. And just with a pencil, I write the day of the week nice at the top, and then I write bullet points for what I need to do for the day, and I try to write them in the order that I want to do them, but sometimes I can't always think of them all at the same time. So I'll just go through and kind of write them out, and then if I think the order needs to be different, sometimes I'll write like 1 and 2 and 3. That way I know what order I'm doing them in. But physically writing out a to-do list is the best thing that helps me when I'm working from home, because it helps me not get distracted from having to look at my phone or my computer or some sort of device to figure out what task I'm doing next. And now with to-do lists, the best thing you can do is to write them out at nighttime or like at the end of your work day. So at the end of my work days on Mondays, I always write out my to-do list for Tuesday. And the reason for this is because if you write your to-do list down the morning of, that's giving yourself time to get distracted and time to say, I don't know what I need to do, let me sit down here for an hour and think about it, you know? Versus if you already have it written out from the night before, you'll know exactly what you need to do and you can immediately get started. And also, at least for me personally, when I write my to-do list the night before, I always do it as the last thing of my work day from the day before. And when I'm doing it as the last thing of my work day, my brain wants to get it done quickly. That way I can go move on to having dinner and watching TV and chilling out. So if I do this as the last part of my work day the day before, it gets done way quicker than trying to do it the morning of. So the next thing that really helps me when I'm working from home is actually getting up and getting ready for the day. I know you might want to stay in your pajamas when you're working from home, but for me the biggest thing has been at least putting on some normal clothes. So like, it's kind of cold today, so I'm wearing a sweatshirt, and then I have jeans on as well. So I get up and put some regular clothes on, and regular clothes can be sweatpants or anything. Just make sure you're not wearing what you would sleep in, because at least for me, all of what I'm saying is for me. I'm not a scientist or anything, so I don't know how the brain actually works, but at least for me, when I get up in the morning and I put on regular clothes, it signals to my brain, okay, now the work day is starting, so it's time for me to go work on my shop or work on my schoolwork, because I do have both to do throughout the day. So when I'm dressed and ready, it just signals to my brain that it's time to start working right after I'm ready. So another great thing that I highly recommend is having a set out morning routine where your morning is almost exactly the same every morning. Because from what I do know, from what I've read from articles and stuff, just like changing your clothes in the morning even if you're not leaving the house, also having a set morning routine helps your brain start to realize, okay, I'm getting into the work day, and then you can start your work day. So for me, I wake up around 8 a.m., which since I've been off of school for the past like month, I have not been waking up that early, normally like 10. But either way, I wake up, I go ahead and brush my teeth and all of that, and then get some breakfast, which is normally just like something small, because when I do wake up later, I eat lunch still around the same time, so I don't eat that much for breakfast. Then sometimes I'll put on makeup and put on my regular clothes. Some days I don't put on makeup. It honestly just depends on if I'm filming or not. Normally Or if I just want to wear makeup, I do. If I don't, then I don't, you know. But at least putting on regular clothes and getting myself ready for the day helps my brain to figure out, okay, the work day is now starting now that I'm done with everything in my morning routine. Now, another great tip when you're working from home is to set designated times for things. Now, of course, you don't want to be too strict on yourself if you have something that you need to get done that day and it goes over the time limit, or you're done before the time is up. You don't want to restrict yourself and say, oh, I have to stop working on this because the time's up, or oh, I just stopped working because the time isn't up yet, you know. So you do want to find a balance. But what I tend to do is I have certain days for certain things. So for example, on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, I usually spend my whole entire day doing schoolwork for the majority of the day, at least until like 3 or 4. And then on those days, if I do have something else I need to do for my business after I'm done with working on school for the day, then I will move on to that. So if I have like a post on Instagram they need to make, or something that's being released or something like that, I will move on to doing that. But I don't restrict myself, so if I have an assignment that I'm working on and I'm not quite finished with it, I will go over the 3 or 4 o'clock mark. Whenever I'm planning on stopping work, I'll go over that mark just so that I can finish it, or at least to where I'm at a good stopping place, because you don't want to stop and forget what you were doing and lose your whole train of thought and have to come back to it the next day. But you also want to have a boundary between work and home when you're working from home, and that's really a hard balance to find, especially as a business owner, because I know for myself, I'm always thinking, what can I do for my business? What can I do for my business? What can I do for my business, you know? And it's a hard boundary to set. So it will just take some time, but eventually you will get used to stopping work at a certain point and realizing, okay, I need to wrap this up around this time of day every day. That way you can get on a normal schedule and still have time to cook dinner or watch TV or do whatever it is you do in the evening. Now, my next tip is to take breaks throughout the day when you're working. So obviously you want to take a break to at least eat lunch at some point. Of course, the time is up to you. I suggest at least like 30 minutes to just chill, eat something. I normally like watch a YouTube video while I eat food, but if that's going to be too distracting and you're going to stay on YouTube the whole rest of the day, maybe just listen to some music or just scroll through social media, whatever it is that you want to do while you're eating, or just sit there and eat and don't really do anything. But I'm the type of person that I don't really like to just sit and eat and for it to be silent. So I always have a podcast or music or a video playing or something while I'm eating. Especially if I'm home by myself. If like my sister's here or something, then I might talk to her if she's awake. But you know, just something to occupy myself while I'm eating, because it also gives you a break from work to not be thinking about work. Because if you're just sitting there eating when you're taking your lunch break, you're going to be thinking about what you need to do after work, or gosh, I didn't get enough done before my break, you know. So I highly recommend that. And I also recommend taking breaks throughout the day, like smaller breaks, at least like 2 to 3 breaks that are like 15 minutes. I tend to break them up into like 5-minute intervals. So after I work for like an hour or 2, I'll take a 5-minute break. After I work for another hour or 2, I'll take a 5-minute break. And during those breaks, I go use the restroom, I fill up my water bottle. If I'm hungry, maybe I'll eat a bag of chips or something like that. It really helps to take your mind off of your work for just a few minutes. It's long enough to where you don't feel like you're completely out of the zone of working, but it is long enough to where you feel like, okay, I can get back to this and I'm motivated to do it. And my final thing that I do every single day is to have a set night routine as well. Now this is the same as the morning routine, except instead of getting yourself energized for the day, you're gonna wind down for the day, you know? So the first part of my night routine, once I'm done with my work, is of course writing the to-do list. honestly the most important step. Try to think of everything that you need to do the next day. If you didn't finish something that day, then that goes on the top of your to-do list for the next day. But you want to make sure you have your night routine set in place, so of course start out with writing your to-do list. Then the next thing I do is go put on comfy clothes again, so take off my jeans, put on sweatpants, and if my shirt's a little uncomfortable, I'll change my shirt. And then I kind of just crochet. If I have custom orders, I work on custom orders, that type of thing. And then around that time, it's probably time for dinner, so sometimes I cook, sometimes my parents cook, or sometimes we get takeout or whatever the case is, but we decide what we're gonna do for dinner and make it or go get it, and then eat dinner, of course. And after that, I kind of chill, listen to a little bit of music, kind of have like a relaxation time for like maybe an hour or so. Sometimes I crochet during it, sometimes I watch Netflix during it. It kind of just depends, but a lot of times I just end up with my AirPods in and listening to music and singing, because that's one of my biggest stress relievers. But of course, it's up to you, whatever you want to do, it's your night routine. But then eventually, once my dad goes to bed, I come out to the living room and watch videos with my mom, because we always watch like the Try Guys and stuff like that together, so that's a part of my night routine. And then afterwards, I work out with my mom and sister. And then by then it's like 9 or 10 o'clock and I shower and get ready for bed. And then of course crochet, watch Netflix and whatever before I fall asleep. And that's basically it, and I do it all over again. So the point is, just have an established night routine where you do mostly the same things every single night, and once you get in the habit of doing the same things every single night, it'll tell your brain, okay, it's time to get ready for bed. It's time to get ready for bed. And then as you're doing those things, your brain will get more and more and more tired because it's used to doing those same steps throughout the night, and then you go to bed afterwards. And if you do have trouble sleeping because you're constantly thinking like, what can I do for my business? What can I do for my business? Like I said, I always think about that type of stuff. The best thing that helps me is actually reading right before I go to bed. So try to put my phone away. I'm not very good about it, but I do try, and read maybe like 5 to 10 pages of my book, just because it's already pretty late by the time I sit down to read. And you know, just kind of relax. And I do read like entrepreneurship / like self-motivation, self-development type books, so it kind of makes me feel like ready for the next day when I'm reading a book like that at nighttime. It makes me feel relaxed, ready to go to bed, and then when I wake up, I'm ready to conquer the next day because of books like that. Another big thing for myself is rewarding myself, and this can be in small ways or in big ways. If you have like a big business milestone, like you reach 50 sales or something like that, right? Like a big milestone. It could be some sort of celebration, like going to buy yourself a cake. Or it could be something as small as like going to Dunkin' Donuts and getting yourself your favorite coffee or your favorite drink, right? Anything like that. I always try to have little rewards for myself, even just like eating a piece of chocolate throughout the day because I did a task that I really hate doing and I normally procrastinate it. Give myself a little reward for doing that. That way next time my brain's like, okay, you know what, it's not that bad. So that's another helpful thing as well, because I know there's things that we all procrastinate with business, like the paperwork side and all of that stuff that's not very fun. At least I procrastinate that, so giving myself a little small reward for doing that kind of stuff is really helpful for me. Okay guys, I hope this video was helpful. If it was, please do give it a big thumbs up. If you guys want to see more craft, crochet, or business videos, make sure you subscribe down below and turn on the post notification bell. Let me know in the comments down below if any of these tips were helpful, if you use any of these tips, or just what you thought of this video. If you guys want to see more behind the scenes type stuff, or just more from me, my blog, my Etsy shop, and all of my social medias are always linked in the description box down below, as well as more videos from me if you want to check those out. And with all of that, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye!